Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. Going to bring in our friends over on Instagram so they can be part of our chat for today. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon. I have a very special guest who I've interviewed several times on Conversations Live, the radio show, which is making her first appearance with us here on Amazon. So I'm excited for you guys to be able to meet her and to learn about her brand new book. And we're now live on the Amazon Live platform with Cyrus Webb Presents. If you guys are new to us on Amazon, welcome. I'm going to type you guys a quick welcome message over there. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the new book by award-winning author Margaret Mizushima. It's called Die and Cry. You guys can see it here. I have my advanced copy here. I want to talk to Margaret not only about her writing journey, but also the newest book in her series featuring some characters that I've gotten to know quite well, that being Maddie and Cole, but also the newest situation they find themselves in as their lives have changed, but also still they feel in trouble no matter where they seem to go. If you guys are not staying connected with Margaret, we'll let you know how to be able to do that. But Margaret, thank you so much for the time.
Really thank you so much for hosting me.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, Margaret, I always enjoy our conversations. I always enjoy your books. The last time that we talked, I do have Gathering Mist here with me as well, one of my favorites of this series. I was just talking to you, though, about the journey we've seen these main characters on, but you referenced something a moment ago when we were just talking, and that is you just had the launch for the new book, Die and Cry. What has it been like for you to see the excitement of readers about the new book?
Oh, it's been just wonderful. It's so nice to have it received so well. And we came back to our hometown of Fort Collins, Colorado, and we're at the Old Town Library last night with Old Firehouse Books selling books for us. It was just a wonderful gathering. And we now live in Washington State, so coming back to Colorado was a homecoming for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Margaret, you have been able to do something really interesting, and that is to be able to create this Timber Creek Canine series, but also create these characters that we've gotten to know, to understand, appreciate, and root for. What has that been like for you to see how readers have been able to discover you and stay with you from book after book?
It has been quite a journey. Our first book came out in 2015, and it's called Killing Trail. Mm-hmm. And we've published a book a year since then, and Die and Cry is book 10. So it has been a real journey, writing a book a year and getting it published. I had no idea when Killing Trail came out. I had a 2-book contract at that time. So I had no idea that we would still be publishing books 10 years later. And even though it's been a 10-year journey for me, back in Timber Creek for Cole and Maddie, it's only been 2 years because we had to really slow down that timeline so that Maddie's canine partner, Robo, wouldn't get too old to be her partner anymore. So it's only been 2 years there in Timber Creek, but a lot has happened, and a lot of murder and mayhem in this small mountain town in Timber Creek, Colorado, which is fictional, by the way.
Yeah. Margaret, I joked with a friend of mine that you created your own canine murder she wrote. It's like everywhere Jessica Fletcher went, someone died or was killed. And that was with Maddie and Cole. It seems like they're always finding dead people around them. So let's talk about that. Maddie Ray is who we got to initially meet. How did Maddie come to you? How did you come up with her?
I don't know for sure. It's just a process. Mm-hmm. I met a woman who was training canine patrol dogs, and she was retired at that point. And she does not have the same backstory as Maddie. She didn't have a terrible childhood like Maddie did. She had a wonderful childhood, but she was a canine officer. And the stories she told me about herself and her dog just showed me what a courageous woman she was. And so I thought, I want a really spunky canine officer, female officer, And that's kind of how the character came to life. And this woman's partner was named Robo, and he was a German Shepherd. By the time I met her, he had passed away of old age. He didn't die on duty, thank goodness. But yeah, and he had been her pet the last years of his life after he retired too. So that's kind of, it's very serendipitous. I met her through our mothers, who were both public health nurses, and then they introduced us. And I had already decided I wanted a veterinarian in the series. So Cole Walker had already been in my mind. And then as soon as I met her, I thought it only makes sense to have a female canine handler and have Cole Walker be her love interest as well as Robo's doctor. Yeah. So that's kind of how it all started.
Wow. And in that beginning, you referenced something, and I'm bringing this up, Margaret, because I have found that every time, even though you and I have talked several times, and on the radio side, I find that there's always new readers who are learning about my guests, and so I'm just trying to give them a little bit of context and backstory. You mentioned in the beginning of this conversation that you started off with a 2-book deal.
Yes.
Couldn't have imagined, though, that it would evolve into what it has, and that people would become so invested in these characters.
Oh, I had no idea. And thank you, readers, and thank you, people who buy the book, and readers who go to libraries help me too, because libraries buy the books. And so all of this momentum has given me the opportunity to get a 2-book contract every other year. And so we're now at book 10, and I actually have a contract for book 11. So yeah, thank you to all the readers. Had no idea it would still be going 10 years later.
Did you find that this series, though, when we talk about Timber Creek, Margaret, was the perfect recipe for you? Having of course, the canine being a part of the series, having mysteries be a part of it. Did you find that all of those are just the perfect ingredients for you to be able to play with?
It really was a good recipe for me. I've been married to a veterinarian for well over 40 years. And so I know that life. And that was in part why Cole Walker came to me first, because people love to watch my husband work. And I thought, well, maybe people will enjoy reading about a vet and the type of work a vet does. And of course, Cole Walker has to have something that he discovers in every mystery that helps solve the case. Robo has to work, Maddie has to work, and Cole has to work. So, and then on top of that, when we were in our 30s, my husband and I joined a search and rescue training group, and we were able to learn how search and rescue dogs were trained. So that experience was in my background, even though I had no idea sometime I would be writing a mystery series with a patrol dog who also could track and trail fugitives or missing persons. So it all just came together.
And that brings us to the new book. And so what I think is so interesting, and I'll let you kind of chime in on this, Margaret, Dying Cry is a complete book in itself for sure. I think, though, for those of us who have read the other books, it's good to be able to kind of see the progression of these characters. Is that that's something you seem to do from each book? Is that kind of part of the goal of to continue telling these stories, but to do each one in a way where people feel like they're not missing anything?
Yes, I work hard at that, and my editor helps me with that too, because we don't want to put so much in that it becomes boring to the series reader. So we have to paint that in with a thin paintbrush throughout the book. And so that's really important to me, that each book stands alone so that a reader can jump into the series at any point. And then if they're interested in the series arc, which
Yeah.
really tells the story about Maddie and Cole and how they came together,
Right.
what their backstories are, you know, what was happening to them before they step onto the stage in Killing Trail. You can always go back and read whatever book in the series you want. I've had readers tell me that they even jumped around in the series and they still got a lot of entertainment. So each case is solved during the book.
Right. And that definitely makes it easy. That brings us into the new book, Dying Cry. So this is interesting. Difference from myself as a reader, Margaret, in that we're used to seeing Maddie and Cole kind of come into these situations that they don't really have as close of a connection to, and trying to, you know, to figure out what happened, who's responsible, and to try to, you know, of course, get to the bottom of it. Dying Cry is different because this is more close to home for them. Talk to us about what kind of led to you writing this book.
First of all, I really didn't have a book that focused on greed. And so that was kind of the initial kernel of inspiration. And this book is the first book where Maddie and Cole are married. In Gathering Mist, the book you showed that beautiful green cover earlier. Thank you very much. That's one of my favorite covers. And in Gathering Mist, at the very last chapter, they get married. So Dying Cry is a couple months after they've been married. And so that is quite different too, because Maddie is fitting into their family and becoming a mother figure to Cole's two daughters, age 9 and age 16. So that kind of starts the book. They're actually at a resort teaching the kids how to snowshoe and giving Maddie a chance to be a part of the family while they're on a vacation or an outing. And then suddenly they hear a scream and it echoes down the canyon and dies off as it is echoing down the canyon. And that's how the book starts.
Yeah, I think, and that's why I think this is such a fascinating book. So I want to go back to what you said, though. I thought it was interesting the way you phrased that, Margaret. You said you hadn't had a book where greed kind of was front and center. Talk to us about what that was like for you to play with these characters.
I always have to kind of get into the head of the villains, even though I don't write in their point of view. Each book is written in Maddie's and Cole's point of view. And no, I don't write in the dog's point of view. Some authors do. Some authors do, but I chose not to. So there's a twist at the end that we won't talk about today, but I discovered this very interesting fact about people in general. And so I decided I really had to put that twist in at the very end and hopefully give the readers a little bit of a surprise. Some readers might catch on earlier, but it's very I think these motives that mystery authors give to their villains usually center around love, revenge, jealousy, money, and that's where greed comes in, or hatred. So hatred and revenge. So I had really never focused on the greed or the money. And it was different for me. It was quite different. Luckily, I have some friends who are in the banking business. And so they could give me a lot of pointers for the research that I wanted to put into the bank and into the book.
When you were talking, I thought about something, Margaret. I don't know if you're a Spencer Quinn fan, if you've read his books.
Yes.
Yeah. So I interviewed him with Chet. And of course, all of those books are told from Chet's Perspective. So when you said that about you don't write for the dog's perspective, I thought, yeah, Spencer's his whole series.
It's a great series, and it's
Yeah.
a wonderful series for being able to read from the dog's point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yes.
when you said that, I immediately thought about Spencer.
Oh, yes.
With that.
He's always in the back of my mind too, whenever I
Yeah.
mention that.
Oh, so there is another point I wanted to mention from this, and that is, and you do this from every book, Margaret, which I believe is what makes you such a gifted storyteller, to really make the reader feel invested. Because, like, for myself, I can speak for me. I've never been physically to the places you write about, but I feel like I can relate to them because you make the characters feel so familiar, if that makes sense. And so, in this particular book with Dying Cry, what I thought was so interesting is the question I think all of us would ask ourselves: what would you do, for those that you love? And how protective we would be of those, especially in a situation like what Maddie finds herself in, where she has this new family, as you even alluded to. She, having a good family is not something she's normally accustomed to, but to be able to have this opportunity and to have that threatened, it makes you wonder, as you kind of see her navigate what happens, what we would do in those situations. Is that something you've heard from other readers, Margaret?
Yes, definitely. And that is always a question that writers ask themselves as you go from scene to scene: is what would you do? And what would this character do? And of course, what Maddie would do and what I would do are two very different things. I am not a courageous woman and very spunky and very athletic like Maddie is. So I really have to get into Maddie's head, really, and say, what would Maddie do? What would Cole do? So, I think that that's a very important question. And Maddie is always, she's very work oriented, and work is her comfort. So even in book one, I had decided that someday Cole and Maddie would marry, and someday Maddie would be the stepmother of these two children. So even in book one, I planted that Maddie wanted a family. And at that point, she was searching for her own family because she had been separated from her family when she was 6 years old. Actually, earlier than that, although she didn't know it in Killing Trail. That whole story kind of comes out in the series arc. But I did kind of plant that was her major goal, was to have family. And then, of course, we can say that in this book, her family becomes threatened, and she becomes challenged with the hardest task she's had as a K-9 officer. So, it's so fun to challenge these poor characters. We do throw a lot at them, don't we?
Right. But I think, again, that's what I mean about Margaret for myself. That's what makes them so engaging for us as readers. Because we, like you were saying, okay, you're not Maddie, but we all can look at characters like Cole and Maddie and say, wow, I wish I was that courageous. I wish I was that bold. I wish I was that daring. And then also, I think for myself personally, aspirationally, that I hope I would, if this situation came about, I hope I would handle things in a way similar to the way that they did. And I think that's the other great thing here. Over on IG, hello to you, Antoine. Hello to you, M3 Models. That you all could join us again, everyone. We've been speaking with Margaret Mizushima today. Margaret's newest book is called Dying Cry. You guys can see it here. Over on Amazon, you all can see, you can get the book in print, or you can get the Kindle edition right now for only $14.99. Margaret, it is so good to have you with us on the Amazon Live platform. I do want to say, for those tuning in on Amazon, make sure you guys do check out the other books in the series. As I mentioned, this is the Temper Crate K9 series. You all can be able to find the other books here on Amazon. And Margaret, how can they stay connected with you?
I have a website. It's margaretmizushima.com. That's spelled MargaretMizushima.com. margaretmizushima.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram and X and Blue Sky and Threads. I also have a newsletter, so if you're wanting to know about book news, including whenever the books are discounted, please sign up for my newsletter, and you can do that on my webpage.
Love that. Well, Margaret, congratulations to you again. So glad to be able to see you and to spend this time with you, and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so much.
More than welcome. And we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you all make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.